Oh, I know you can see me. I'm just doing a little sharing. Why is that what it's saying? Wait, what? Okay, whatever. So interestingly, I haven't done much into the Charlie Kirk situation. I just haven't wasted the time on it. I don't. It's crazy how well it's working, but at the same time, how ridiculous it all is. So I've watched this comedian before.
Here's how I went from extra
And
large to medium.
Sammy
Obid
Obid,
time using nothing but pink salt.
I bet if you run this.
and he's often critical of Israel and all that. So, like, I like the guy. Totally beautiful. Look at all this, the lines. Sorry, I just noticed it. Oh, fuck, look at that. Maybe he'll be stupid enough to let me see, like, a crazy-ass rainbow out of it. Because we're almost at that spot where the rainbows start showing up. Right on. All right, so I'm just going to play this because... So first I was watching the body language expert guy, that goofy Jewish body language expert guy. And obviously, I'm not going to believe that. Like, you know, I never thought that guy would go against the narrative. He's allowed to have 1.3 million subscribers. So you don't have 1.3 million subscribers and say what you're not supposed to say. But, you know, he pointed something out that is very interesting, and that's that the video of Tyler Robinson being deposed, or whatever you want to, when he's sitting in his little flak jacket thing, and that doesn't look real. It's edited. There's, you know, as a body language expert, he looks for little cues, and there's one thing in particular where the original sort of local news nod at the end of when everything's being read in that, okay, it's done thing. But the ABC News, the one that's been played for everybody, he nods when it's said that he killed Charlie because of his political views. I mean, it's clearly fucking manufactured. This is why I don't like doing all this. This is why I don't even bother with the Charlie Kirk tentacle, because that's literally all it is. It's just another tentacle connected to the head of the monster. And if we really want to figure this tentacle out, we have to kill the head of the monster. And so, to me, it's as obvious an Israeli, you know, situation as anything else ever has been. Especially considering the idea that he supposedly had turned on Israel, and yet Israel never turned on him. And it just doesn't work that way. You know? If somebody comes out and starts questioning Israel, October 7th, you know, any of it, the genocide, anything like that, they're immediately anti-Semitic. They're bad guys. They're attacked. You know, I mean, the amount of ACT.IL and APAC, or I mean, in Team Jorge interference would have been astronomical. And you would see it in those videos. In the comment section, you would see the the expression like I get, where suddenly all of these people are just angry and saying all kinds of crazy shit while not actually addressing anything being said. But again, that doesn't exist. So this Sammy Obed posted, he had done a stand-up, and the title of it says, ChatGPT says Tyler Robinson texts are fake. Now this guy is in his 20s, I'm assuming, maybe 30s, but he brings up points that I wouldn't even have, I wouldn't notice because I'm too old. But once he points it out, it's obvious. And when I saw the text exchange, it's on the thing. Morning, dude. Because your phone wasn't plugged in. Come here. Your phone wasn't plugged in this morning.
Hi.
So when I got your
Hi, pedos.
when I got your charger, I plugged it in there, and now it's at 100. So yeah. Anyway. So you see this, or he does this video where he's going to break down the text, and I got about 2 minutes into it, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to watch this live, because everything he says is right on, and it's funny because it's like it's a joke, right? It's done in this. He's a stand-up comedian. But from like a behavioral analysis point of view, from the point of view of the system as a whole, they should be hiring this man. He has single-handedly exposed how obviously fake it is. And, when I saw it, just little shit like when he said, I had the opportunity to take out Kharlie Cirk, so I'm going to do it. It doesn't work that way. You don't say things like that. It's either I have the opportunity, so I'm going to do it, or I had the opportunity, so I did it. There's right there's a contradiction, and that's the opening sort of, that's what it starts with. Other than the drop what you're doing bullshit. But let's see how this breaks down. Because to me it's as obvious as that Joey guy or the Fox guy being a fucking disgusting piece of shit Jay pedo. Yesterday, I don't know anybody that was here yesterday. Go watch the video from yesterday. We literally have Jews on the feed admitting to being pedophiles, as obviously as you can without actually saying it. But just something as stupid as pretending not to know about something, and then when it's brought up, saying stop reading this, and then. Never at once, never ever. None of these Jews actually say this. When I read the article, the Israel Hayom, it's a high-ranking Israeli newspaper, news organization. Their website, Israel Hayom, puts out all sorts of media and shit. When the Israel Hayom page, which is all, it's all Jews from top to bottom, Israeli Jews from top to bottom. Owners, editors, reporters, photographers, everybody is Jewish. You can't say it's some sort of anti-Semitic this or that, like you crybabies always do, right? The article is called Bottom of Darkness, and it exposes, it lays, it's all about the ritualistic sexual abuse that has, always will go on in Israel. And it's so prominent, it's just everywhere. And it's just hard. It's hard to read it. Not only is it hard to read it from a human point of view, but it's also hard to read it because for some strange reason, the page will keep kicking you out and trying to take you to the Israel destroys Assad's Syrian army article that they have. Like, it's just the strangest. If I wasn't me, I would just be like, what is going on here? I just do not understand what's going on here. Being me, it's very obvious what's happening. So when you read about all of this ritualistic sexual abuse to a guy who's supposedly bragging that he's in Israel at the moment, and he's telling you to stop reading it, and instead of saying, oh, look at that, it's exactly where the one was, what was it, yesterday? Yesterday or the day before, when I was like, look, it came from that direction, northeast. If you take this about 40, 50 miles exactly that way, you hit Selfridge Air Force Base. Now, if you go directly south, you'll hit Detroit Metro Airport. Like directly, like 10 miles south of here. So this, coming from the northeast, leaving this huge chalk line, only seems to come from Selfridge Air Force Base. Let's see. Matt, what's up, man? Oh, man, you missed a good one yesterday, Matt. Yeah. So instead of hearing me reading this horrendous article about how Israel is a hotbed for not just ritualistic sexual abuse, but also the child exploitation materials that are everywhere online. These people don't go, man, you know, as someone who's a proud Jew, this appalls me, and I want to do everything I can to expose this and eliminate this. They don't say anything like that. They just attack. Oh, look, the plane must have stopped flying. The plane must have stopped flying. Or is it the weather change? Because you can even see, if you look, it's almost like it sputters out, like it runs out of shit, because there's the 1, 2, 3, there's a small gap, another small gap, and then a larger gap, and then it shuts off. What do you think made that happen? Or you think the weather just changed right there? Is that what it is? The weather changed? So when the next big line comes from, well, actually, that plane seems to go and it'll come back over there. But when I start getting lines coming through this way, does that mean the weather's changed? Yeah. To me, I keep telling you guys, like, these guys aren't going to acknowledge what's being said, right? Yeah, who's stalking me or what Jay is watching me affecting my overall online experience, such as restricting speech in games and removing comments online, especially since you started watching me. I bet it got exponentially worse once you started watching me. Anyway, these guys aren't going to come out and just admit that what I'm saying is true. Right? They're going to do all kinds of crybaby things. And what this Joey character did was immediately started trying to buy me off. Saying, oh yeah? Well, how about I give you $5,000 for your computer? What's on your computer? And I laughed at him. He said, oh yeah, well, how about 10? Within 3 comments, he went from $5,000 to offering $25,000. Belch. While claiming that's no big deal. That's not a lot of money. I'll give you $25,000 for your computer. I said, right. Send it directly to the Bilderberg page. You know, we accept donations on that page. So as soon as you donate your 25 grand to the page, I will absolutely send you my laptop, computer, whatever you need. And then, of course, the lying piece of shit Jew that he is, he changes his tune once again. And it's just so interesting. Like, seriously, I don't know if you watch my video. No, because you don't see the comments don't show, do they? If you go back and rewatch the old videos. But go ahead and watch the video from yesterday and you'll be blown the fuck away by... I mean, I read all of his comments, so you'll be able to hear everything he said. And the all-around response to me reading about the ritualistic sexual abuse that is everywhere in Israel, you would think there would be just all sorts of anger, frustration. You know, why is this happening? The Israeli excuse is that the police don't have enough resources to be able to do full investigations. That's why they close all of the investigations immediately. Yes, and if you're watching, like, share, and sub. Don't forget that stuff. That always helps. Step one to anything is identifying the problem. I don't know why you're talking to Urkel, man. He's a fucking idiot. He's got Sonic the Hedgehog in his profile picture to lure kids in. That's all you need to know about that piece of shit. You know, and I should be talking about what I'm talking about, but what happened yesterday was so telling to me. It really is, you know, as much evidence as I can come up with, as I can provide you. You know, along with all the receipts I always provide you guys, but the response, the admitted Jew coming on here and responding the way they did, the Jew that said he was in Israel at the time, and you know, he had my feet. There was a bunch of Israelis were standing around, and I want to take a walk anyway. I'll type when I feel I need to. Cool. So I'm going to play this video. This is Samuel Bede's stand-up. And he breaks down why this text exchange is just fake as shit. And it seems fake as shit to me. Again, for me, the language used just doesn't sound like a 22-year-old without a media footprint. Remember, he doesn't have a social media footprint. Just like the Trump shooter. But when he's saying shit like vehicle, drop point, my old man, this just isn't how civilians who are in their fucking 20s, early 20s, that's not how they talk. And so like I say, I got about 3 minutes into this video, and I decided to just watch it live because it's so informative. So let's hear what's being said.
Through ChatGPT, do you think my government's lying to me? Short answer, maybe. The FBI claims they have text messages that Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter of Kharlie Cirk, of him talking to his roommate, who is also his trans partner. You can't make this stuff up because they did. They released these text messages, and I don't know if you saw them, but they are not real, okay? No human being looks at this text conversation and is like, yeah, 2 people had this. Tyler and his roommate are Gen Z, okay? Gen Z does not talk in complete sentences.
True.
That is your first red flag. And I'm just gonna read them to you right now so we can have some laughs. So let me go to CNN for accuracy. Here's the full record of a series of text messages exchanged with the alleged gunman on the day of the shooting, which the roommate provided to the investigators. So the roommate was like, here, you can have these very private tweets. Robinson says, drop what you are doing. Yeah, like those full words. Drop what you are doing, comma. Gen Z does not use commas. Okay? Everybody knows this. They have not discovered punctuation yet. Right? They can shorten words. They can't make short words longer.
Gotta have my ads
When I tell you that,
that
I
have
give it my
never
all,
done
I give
anything.
it my
I've never
absolute
been
all
like,
to give my
oh,
clients
thank you,
Can't make short
YouTube.
words longer. Robinson says, drop what you're doing, comma, look under my keyboard, period.
Morning, fat
Gen
girl.
Z does not use periods, okay? They
Pretty
say
good day.
period when they finish a sentence. And then there's some exposition here. It says, when the roommate looked under the keyboard, there was a note that allegedly read. I like how they say allegedly, like you're the one telling us this. Make it. Period. Again.
See, everybody keeps skipping over that, but that's such a strange error. Like I said, you don't say I had the opportunity and I'm going to do it. You would say I had the opportunity, so I took it, or you would say, I have the opportunity and I'm going to take it. But you wouldn't mix those up. It's one of those things that really irritates me. One of those OCD sort of, I don't even call it OCD, it's just intelligence. And when you look at the rest of his messages, he doesn't say that shit. He doesn't make those kinds of mistakes. Ouch. Anyway.
What's that? And I is capitalized.
Well, the computer will, the
Roommate.
phone will do that.
What? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. This is where the FBI was like, yeah, this is how they talk. What? You're joking, right? Question mark.
I don't, maybe it was written by AI, but I think more likely it was a group of them. This is them trying to, probably using AI assistants or whatever, but like you said, this is how they think we talk. And if it was AI, it would be more consistent, right? Like all the question marks and all that shit, those kinds of exaggerated punctuation, that would be throughout the whole thing. And instead it stops here. After this, he never uses any sort of punctuation again.
Question mark, question mark. You know they had a conversation like, is 4 too many?
Right.
Think they'll know? They literally put 8 question marks after 1. Robinson replies, I am still okay, my love. Rhoda's time warp to the 1800s.
Never called my wife my love. Never.
I'm still
20
okay,
years,
my
never done.
love. But I am stuck in ORM for a little while longer yet.
A little while longer yet.
They wrote this really fast. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, comma, but I gotta grab my rifle still. Period. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. Come on, dude. This is not a novel. And Gen Z, talk to any Gen Zer. They don't think they're gonna die of old age. They think they're gonna die tomorrow, okay? And to be honest, after incidents like this, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? He says, I'm sorry to involve you. Roommate, you weren't the one who did it, right? Question mark, question mark, question mark,
Oh,
question
yeah,
mark.
there's this one.
You
Sorry.
can tell, like, the subtle
Oh, look.
transphobia here,
Look.
you know? They're like, yeah,
It's a little
trans
bit
people
off,
love
but
to
it's
use
right there.
multiple question marks.
Told you. Guess the weather was fine right here.
Subtle prejudice, for sure. Robinson replies, I am. I'm sorry. No period this time. Okay. Roommate, I thought they caught the person? Question mark. Just one question mark this time. Robinson, no. They grabbed some crazy old dude.
Who was Jewish, by the way, Zin, the guy that was walking around, I did it, and they caught him, and he kept looking at the cameras, I did it, shoot me, I did it. He's a Jew, just so you know. And wow, fuck, what was he involved in? He was involved in, oh, god damn it. He was involved in something else. Like he was, years ago, he was involved in another one of their stories. I forget which one it is now, but I'm sure it wouldn't take long to figure it out. Was he involved in 9/11? Was that it? Interviewed over 9/11 or some shit? I know he was. He was involved in something. I know there's previous video of him being involved in something. 9/11, I guess, yeah.
Bath and Body Works.
Of course, and it's always Jews. Isn't it just 0.183% of the world's population, and between 1 and 2, some say 3, but more likely 2% of the United States population, they are always involved somehow. Strange, huh? What sort of trouble did Zinn get in over all of this? Did he get in any trouble? I mean, what could he get in trouble for? Claiming you did something when you didn't do it shouldn't have any sort of trouble. It's just lying.
No, they grabbed some
demonic
crazy
parasites. Yes, it's demons. Gotta love the demon stuff. Instead of thinking it's just real people who are pieces of shit, let's give them the excuse. They're demons. And all we need is some good old Jesus to exorcise those demons. Did you guys hear about the Jewish broad who killed her 2 children, drowned them in the bathtub, stabbed one of them in the stomach, but drowned them both in the bathtub, and then was taken into custody? Like, was allowed to walk through the police station without handcuffs on, was given the 5-star treatment, and then, instead of being put in prison, was put into a psychiatric ward because she was granted that she was temporarily insane. And basically, if she ever proves that she's better now, they'll let her go. They'll let her go. Why does this channel appear on my feed? Bigger question, why do you click it? Does your YouTube work differently than mine? I scroll past tons and tons of different videos before I pick one. You're telling me that if YouTube tells you to look at something, you're like, I gotta look at it. I gotta click on it. I then have to comment because that person is talking about killing pedos and eliminating the chosen power scheme, and I don't like those things. You can't kill pedos. You can't eliminate the Fryer fucking control scheme. What's wrong with you? Don't worry, I'll click on this again sometime, or I'm just gonna stick around and keep talking shit. Right? That's how that works. 16 years ago, 3 subscribers. She joined 16 years ago and she has 3 subscribers. Totally makes sense. Anyway.
Which is true, they did. That happened, but you can tell here the FBI is trying to cover their trails and explain why they focused on that clearly not shooter guy for so long. And then in this, it's because, he was crazy and he was old. So messed up. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. Again, explaining why they stopped someone else. The FBI's like, we had to. There was the crazy guy and the guy in similar clothing.
I'm watching because it said submarines aren't real. I'm a huge submarine enthusiast. I just look all over the place for submarines. And you already admitted that you know what this feed is. So that you fell for it again? Are you saying this is like not even the second time you've been here? You came here again, hopeful that I was talking about submarines, but you're not, and I'm a huge submarine enthusiast. Gotcha, that makes so much sense. You make so much sense. It doesn't make more sense that you're just another Team Jorge act.il Israeli profile trying to interfere and whatnot. No, it makes sense that you're just looking for those submarine videos, and my video gets you every time. Gotcha. LOL. Relax, queer. That's the best you have, huh? I don't really know how I could. If I was more relaxed, I'd be asleep. So you're saying I should just go back to sleep? Is that what it is? Queer. Mate, you advertise submarines are right. It says submarines aren't real. Part something else. So are you one of these people that goes to Shell gas station looking for seashells and you're disappointed every time because they only sell gasoline? There's a really prominent feed on here called My Lunch Break. Do you go to his feed and be like, "What the fuck? There's no lunch being had here. I thought you were eating lunch." Do you go to a Smashing Pumpkins concert and get mad because there's no gourds to be seen or be smashed? Are you really that stupid? Again, you've already admitted to being here in the past, so why would you continue to fall for it, I guess? Enjoy the fact as this guy keeps smoking, the sooner he goes bye-bye. Like, there you go, there's some Gen Zer text. Fucking stupid. They just stupid. I mean, it's true, right? Is that how that works? Are people really that stupid that they don't understand what titles are, especially admitting that they've seen the title before? And of course, again, you're all just fucking real big submarine enthusiasts. You wake up Saturday morning, first thing in the morning, you jump on YouTube and you try to find you some submarine videos. And of course, if YouTube suggests something, you just have to click on it. That's all. That's the only option. No, they actually sell what they're peddling. No. It's a shell. It says shell, and they have a shell as a logo. They have the picture of a shell. So I would imagine that would confuse you, right? When Smashing Pumpkins is doing a concert, you don't think they're smashing any pumpkins, do you? They don't give a lecture on their dumbass beliefs. Yeah. See what I told you? See? Not only did she have to click on it, she has to stick around and keep talking shit. This is the smartest guy on earth. Yeah. I mean, if you say it, I don't. That's cool with me. I'm not that arrogant. But I'm clearly smarter than you. The fact that you guys can't even see like what's going on here, and you keep contributing to it. That's the best part. Instead of just passing by and this guy, like you do with so many other bullshit videos, you have to come onto this one and be like, "Here, let me show you how you're right. Let's prove how you're right about everything. On that guy done and smoke weed and blah and feel everywhere." You can just ban me. That's what you want. But I'm not going to deny myself a free circus performance. Yup, that's what's happening. Yup. Talking about killing pedos. Talking about eliminating the Fryer control structure. Yup. That's just funny. Pointing out how stupid you are. You love when people point out how stupid you are. Based on your own comments. Because that's funny. You smarter than me? That's hilarious. Well, you're the one that keeps falling for the submarines aren't real thing. You can't be that smart, can you? You're the one that doesn't understand the difference, what a title is. Again, would you find the My Lunch Break guy and be like, "What the fuck, where are all the peanut butter jelly sandwiches? This isn't a lunch break. What's going on here?" I love how stupid they are. You ramble, yep, and get upset. We have the ramble, yapping, blabbling. Yep, that's what I do. Over the viewers, more than anything, psycho. You ramble and get upset over the viewers more than anything, psycho. Yeah. The Jews is coming. How stupid can you be? You are so stupid. It's unreal. You're just so stupid. How can you keep like contributing to this? Literally nothing you say works against me. Every single thing you say makes my argument stronger. And you just keep doing it. I guess, it's for the points, It's for the points. Why? Because I said you're not very intelligent yourself. Yup, I'm not the one. I'm the one that says things wrong all the time. I'm the one that doesn't know his yours and his theirs and yup, the Jews is coming. Yup. Look at how stupid I am. Of course, I'm the one that none of you can seem to prove wrong about anything. That's the best part. How come if I'm so wrong, you guys have to resort to such, childish, dumbass nonsense? How come none of you say, dude, you're wrong about this, and this is why? You're wrong about the Jews, this is why. You're wrong about Israel, this is why. How come you guys never do that? I'm wrong, so it should be relatively easy, right? You're so stupid, says the gullible conspiracy theorist. No, I would have put the apostrophe in there. Remember? I'm gullible. Oh, fat ass pedophile Kristen Mayfield. Misinformation. I'm always pushing that misinformation. Which thing is misinformation, fat girl? I shouldn't call you that. I should call you fat broad, fat pedo. Which part's not real? Why don't you elaborate just a little bit? You're American. Why do you even care about Israel? See, always trying to get away from this thing. Why would you care about what I'm talking about? If I'm wrong, doesn't matter where I'm from or what I'm talking about. Why would you spend your time here other than it's the most entertaining thing in the entire world? No other videos, no platforms, no TVs, no websites, no video games, nothing to do outside, nothing to do with another person is more entertaining than coming here and providing the example. Because that makes sense. Look at how crybaby this is. I am pretty overweight. Look how fat I am. Super fat boy here. But see, now we're desperately trying to point something else out, go to somewhere else, blah, 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 blah. I'm still waiting for the misinformation I'm spreading. Well, for starters, submarines are real. You started off incorrect and never got back on track. Instead, you have an irrational tangents. Yup. I started off talking about submarines. Vacuum. And you can prove submarines are real because you just happen to be another one of these people that's a submarine enthusiast scholar. And you can make arguments against what I have to say. Though you won't, and you can't. You clearly like watching me, but you won't go watch the videos where this whole argument is addressed. You won't debunk anything I say. You just cry about me saying it. You're saying stuff I don't like. Why are you saying stuff I don't like? Not once have you said anything about, well, you're right, we should kill pedos, but I don't like this, or you're wrong about that. Well, you're right, we should eliminate the genocide, but what about this thing? Or they never say anything like that. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting how that works out? Anyway, let's get back to it.
Gotta cover our bases. Tell him, Tyler.
And yet again, doesn't matter what I'm talking about. Now it's this. Now you're mad because I'm showing somebody else's video. Wah, wah.
I had planned. Come on, dude. You just put I planned.
Right.
I had planned to grab my rifle from my...
Shit, hang on a second. Ugh. All right, back to it.
Drop point. Okay, at this point you're like, okay, this is AI.
Oh, wait,
This is AI.
let's see. I am throwing a tantrum about everything you say. Yes. Look at me throwing a tantrum. So if I don't read the stuff, then I'm avoiding it. If I do read it and address it, now it's a tantrum. Well, which one do you want? How come you're even here? Why don't you just leave? Go find you a real submarine video you can sink your teeth into. Seems really strange that, you know, I'm going in these temper, God damn it, what you're saying, right? The pot's calling the kettle. I mean, seriously, isn't that what you're kind of doing? You shouldn't even be here. This was an accidental click for you again. Team Jorge, you're not some piece of Jew. Nah, you're just some regular person who was looking for submarine videos. Saw this title, saw this whole thing set up, and was like, oh, let me click on this one. Submarines aren't real. I've seen this before. Click again. Makes sense. Yeah. All this Jew bread talk is making me hungry. They're just so dumb, man. It's embarrassing to think that they actually run the show. How could they run the show being this fucking stupid? Make that make sense.
Put this into ChatGPT. And they said, ChatGPT, if you were a Gen Z kid who just shot someone, how would you explain to your roommate / trans lover that you need to get your rifle that you left at your drop point? I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got lost.
Let's just say I was talking about submarines, and then I started talking about this. Would it be something? This is the most trending story in the world right now. Wouldn't you just engage in a normal conversation that we're actually talking about? And if we got back to submarines, we got back to submarines. You realize we weren't talking about submarines, you being the huge submarine enthusiast you are. And you'd leave. Or if you really want to, you could go watch parts 1 through 9 where we actually address why submarines aren't real. None of that shit happens. You're just mad and I should be talking about that because you don't understand titles. And it's not even like it just says submarines aren't real. It says submarines aren't real part Charlie Kirk. Clearly we're talking about Charlie Kirk here. I guess that's just, nope, that's not a thing. And that's not stratospheric aerosol injection. That's just clouds. Just clouds coming out of planes. All the same thing. All those Bob Ross paintings where he put the fucking streaks in the sky like that. I bet you don't leave though. I bet you stick around and keep crying. We'll see.
Down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. They're really paying. I'm getting into this at this point. I'm like, I'm on the edge of my seat. Roommate, why? One question mark. Robinson, why did I do it? Question mark. Oh, come on. Come on. You're going to release this much over a text message to someone who's clearly going to turn you in a few hours? Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah. Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. Now this is where the deep state is clearly rating their evil, because they want to...
I hate when people say deep state. It's not the people that we can see. Just like it's not the church that's doing it. It's the devil. It's not the people that we can say. They love having us focused on invisible shit. Everyone is scared to death of invisible germs. And trust me, it's about to get really fucking bad. They're going to bring out Sears, S-E-E-R-S. COVID, super COVID, and they're going to lock everybody down. They're going to do it all again. Why do you think they're putting the National Guard in all these cities? To clean up crime? You think that's really what it is? Or do you think it's to you know, somebody says Israel's fine. Yep, Israel's fine. They're just committing genocide against starving people, starving children. I always focus on the children, but really, men, women, children, doesn't, you know, it's life. It's life. They're committing genocide, but they're fine. And they're doing it because they feel that they're born superior to everyone else. And that land is just theirs. I hope everybody that supports Israel is if a Native American shows up to their house and demands that they get out, they'll be like, okay, I'm on my way. Let me just grab my, no, can't grab any of my stuff either? Okay. Not to mention, again, the huge, how is Israel committing genocide? You're right, Israel is just a place. It's not a thing. It doesn't have any emotions or anything like that. Israel is just an invisible place that they tell us exists. It's the Jews that are doing it. Very, very astute observation there. The Jews are committing genocide. And that really does need to be said. Because, like I say, Israel is just a construct. It's just something they tell us to believe in. But this is, you know, this is how stupid people are. I think the boyfriend knew everything from the start. So you just buy the narrative you're given, huh? Right? You buy that? It's so sad those people are starving. And they're starving because Israel has bombed the shit out of everything they had, creating the starvation. And now, the people that survived the initial bombings, who are stuck living in tents, they're getting bombs dropped on them. They're being herded into feeding pens, basically, and then being shot. And none of this shit is new. This has been going on since long before you started paying attention after the October 7th false flag, where no Israelis were killed and no Israelis were taken hostage. If there were any Israeli hostages, why would Israel be bombing so indiscriminately? Why wouldn't they be, when right off the bat, Hamas said that they would give up all the hostages if Israel would just stop bombing? Why did Israel respond by saying, fuck you, and bombing even heavier? If there really are hostages. Holy shit. Look at that. Middle of the street. See what I do is good. There you go. Well, you don't have to, but we know you're still going to, because you just like that shit. And you'll see that, like, literally, look at these comments. They really can't agree, or they can't acknowledge what's being said. Right? Yeah. That's why the Khazarian Jews want to establish a state within Ukraine. Sure. Hello, Henry. There's back. West Bank Palestinians are going to the UK. Gaza is going to California. Okay, that's a fact. Then let Israel do it themselves. We don't need to help them. But see, the problem is, you can't say that anymore. There's no way that you could just say, okay, well, the U.S. is going to just pull out. We've armed Israel. We've been contributing to the 77-year genocide the entire time. Even if they didn't have any American support whatsoever, they would still be this well-funded, you know, extremely powerful adversary because of the United States. So we can't just say, oh, well, we should pull out, blah, blah, blah. That just doesn't work that way. So you're just a piece of shit Jew too, Henry? Is that what you're saying? Matitza Bape, pedophile, just like the rest of them? Boy, Ellie, your English sure has gotten better in the last week. Must be all those classes you're taking. Right? The Filipinos just learn English.
The deep state is clearly writing their evil because they want us to push this narrative that this was a guy who couldn't solve things.
I this the whole time. I think it's strange that immediately after Charlie Kirk was shot, the narrative was that he was shot because of his political views. Long before they had any sort of suspect or anything like that, the system was telling us, just like they were with 9/11, that it was hijackers. It was hijackers from it was Arab hijackers. It was Al Qaeda hijackers, ISIS hijackers. Just like that one guy that was interviewed that was like, and then the buildings fell due to structural failure. Interesting how they do that. You guys notice that? Why would anybody claim to know why Charlie was shot until you actually have the suspect? And he admits it. He says it. Because this Robinson feller has denied doing everything. And then there's that Candace Owens picture that shows him miles away at the time. He's working at a food place. Some shit. Fuck the world except for whatever country you're loyal to. That should be everyone's attitude. Fix your own backyard before caring about others. Why should people think that way? That's insane. We live in a one world system already. You know, the key to true, you know, to enlightenment, to the utopia we need to live in, is for everybody to be truly selfish, not just short term, you know, goofy selfish like most of us are. But, you know, me, I believe that I want myself, my wife, and my kids to live the happiest, healthiest, safest lives they can possibly live. And the only way that's even possible is if everyone else is living the happiest, healthiest, safest lives they can live. Your name's Brian Yee, meaning your parents aren't from the United States. Or your grandparents, whatever it may be. Are you saying you just don't care about other people, your people? You don't care about your people because you're here, you live here now? Is that your thing? Who cares about all those children being killed because their parents didn't happen to have sex in the same place your parents or your grandparents did? Gosh, that's amazingly coincidental, huh? Just another one. Just plane after plane after plane. West to east, 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 east to west. West to east, west to east, west to east, west to east, east to west. Why is he wrong about the Jews with war? America is waking up on how wrong these Jews are, even Donald Trump. Oh, yeah? Why are you so loyal to Trump? Have you ever asked yourself that question, Carrie? Why are you so loyal to Trump? What has he done to make your life better? So many chemtrails here yesterday and today. Right. Out of nowhere. It's one of those things that it's just like, how do you see this and think, oh, yeah, it's just normal, natural? Especially if you were born before like 1980 or before 1990, and you can remember when planes didn't do this. You don't think Jewish children were killed in the attacks? No, absolutely not. That whole Jewish babies story was bullshit. And it was bullshit from the beginning. So 40 babies, 42 babies, or 40-some babies, what were they doing in this place? Where were all the parents? There were all these babies just chilling there by themselves? And they were burned and beheaded. That shit's just not true. It's been proven not true. And the fact is, you can't prove anything about October 7th. This is the most heavily surveilled area in the region, if not in the world. One of them. And just like every time there's like the Las Vegas shooting. Las Vegas is one of the most heavily surveilled areas in the world. Nope, very little footage. There's literally no footage from October 7th that proves anything other than how stupid Israelis are. Supposedly, shooting takes place at the music festival, so people get out of their cars and decide to run away across an open field. What sense would that make? Why would you ever get out of your car in a shooting situation? Why would you run out into an open field where there's literally nothing else to hit but you? I wish I could help Trump with his faults. He has done some good things, but he isn't perfect. He has caused a lot of problems. I still support him in ways and others not. What has he done that was good? Why don't you guys ever answer the simple question? But okay, Brian, do you understand that your whole concept of U.S., of the U.S. and the United States and the freedoms, that's all bullshit. That's all Jewish bullshit. The whole history, 1776 and all that, it's all bullshit. And it's going to be used to its fullest extent next year. Next year being the 250th anniversary and the blah, blah, blah. Believe me, that's what all of this is leading to. But to think that a car is also some armor, though, exactly. So you're not going to get out and run. That's fucking stupid. You can also drive away faster than you can run. Oh, here comes the other one. Well, if I was standing in my spot, it's in the crux of the trees. You see how that works? Funny how the Iron Dome was offline, which on top of missiles would have taken out those gliders real quick. It's funny how when people started questioning the idea of paragliders because it's stupid, suddenly Hamas releases a video on Hamas.com or Facebook Hamas or wherever the fuck they release videos showing them training with the paragliders, just in case anybody was wondering whether they were doing it or not. And people were starting to question Israel's narrative. They put out the video of them training, right? Trump is a puppet just like the rest of the politicians to manipulate situations into their will and their THEIR agendas. THEIR will. Yes, I'm with you on that. But come on, we got to do better. Isaiah Peterson says, "What a retard." Who says stuff like that? See, this is a typical Jewish thing, right? And you can see this as far back as it goes. You can read it in the auto-emancipation pamphlet that is supposedly the kickoff to Zionism, where the whole narrative is that if you don't accept their narrative, that they are supreme, that they are God's chosen people, and you are just one of the 2,800 slaves each of them should get, then you have mental problems. They don't make any reasonable arguments. They don't say anything of importance. The only thing they ever try to do is make the person out saying the things. They're crazy. You need meds. You're schizophrenic. You're retarded. Because they think mental illness is funny. You know, back when the Jews controlled Hollywood way more openly than they do now, where now we have the illusion that, you know, there are powerful black people and blah, blah, blah in Hollywood. That didn't used to be the case. The amount of movies and stuff and cartoons and where there was a retarded person who was the foil. You know, they had the jokes made about him and all. Look, there goes another one. Look, I don't know if you guys can see it, but the plane is right there and it just stopped spraying for some strange reason. Interesting how that works. But it was when we started to sort of take over the idea of the retarded person being funny, stopped. You know, they love to say things like, oh, Hollywood used to be so racist. Hollywood. Like Hollywood, just like Israel, is a Persian. Oh, look. They changed the tanks out and started back up again. I mean, if you're stupid enough to believe that that's actually something and not just regular old exhaust, completely chalking up the sky. But see, this is how this works, man. This is what they do. They don't have any reasonable arguments. In our society, like Dave Chappelle said, the worst thing you can do is call someone crazy, because crazy is dismissive. And that's how that works. As soon as you think somebody's crazy or something is crazy, you go, well, I'm not going to pay attention anymore. That's crazy. That's how that works. So if they can get you to think that anybody that speaks out against fucking genocide, that speaks out against Jewish supremacy, that they're crazy, well, then you're going to dismiss it. You're probably going to, go get your Bible, because your Bible will also tell you that they are God's chosen people. They're supreme. And just in case you're mixed up or you're a little confused, they tell you things all that they if you speak out, they'll call you, they don't say that's anti-Jewish. You never hear anybody say something is anti-Jewish. They always say it's anti-Semitism. Why do they say Semitism? Well, if you look up what Semitism means policy or predisposition favorable to Jews. The rules, regulations, policy, and the predisposition, which is so much deeper than programming. If your dad has cancer, your grandpa has cancer, your uncles and aunts on that side have cancer, everybody on that side of the family has cancer. Well, you're predisposed to having cancer. So predisposition being favorable to Jews is pretty fucking scary. And it's really telling. And there is nobody else that has a word like that. Policy or predisposition favorable to Filipinos. You don't see that shit anywhere, do you? Look at him trying to drag Matt back into it. Oh, look. Isaiah Peterson flying the pedo flag, knowing it's going to get him removed. Joined 1 year ago. 1 subscriber. Fly the pedo flag, you get removed. And they know it. I'm not going to allow you to have your pedophile transactions through my page. I know that's what you're doing. You fly the pedo flag. They say in a code word, you answer properly, and now you can have transactions without having to do the dark web and all that shit. It's what you guys did with Couch all those years back. Understand what we're talking about here. Understand that if I was wrong about anything I'm saying, they would address it. There are no different people for others to turn on. The people will eventually turn on themselves. Every culture, ethnicity has proven this historically. According to the history that you're given, Brian, when do you understand that? When do you understand that everything they give you is death, doom, and gloom? Invisible death, doom, and gloom, like I said earlier. You all believe in invisible germs. You all believe in invisible rocks that can fall out of the sky and wipe out the dinosaurs and everything else. Invisible super volcanoes underneath Yellowstone. Invisible God and devil that affect everything. Everything they tell you is invisible. The past is all just invisible bullshit that you just have to believe because they tell you to believe it. Yeah, the exhaust is displaced air. Candles are red. Yep. It's just displaced air. Today, the air is displaced. All the other days, the air isn't displaced. But today, it's displaced air. And it has nothing to do with stratospheric aerosol injection, cloud seeding, marine cloud brightening. None of those well-documented terms. Nah, nothing to do with that. Like, it's not even worth paying attention to because you're all so fucking stupid. They make us that way. You're supposed to be stupid. If you believe the things you believe and they're stupid, that makes you stupid. You believe there's some God up there who's watching children get raped and doing nothing about it? You're stupid. And of course, your God is always, the devil is always way more powerful than your God. The devil can affect everything, but God, God only makes people run faster than other people. God only makes people catch touchdowns. The air being displaced by the planes. What kind of stupid fucking answer is that? That it's just, it's not even worth it. Literally, just look up stratospheric, look up chemtrail conspiracy, right? Or just into the Google machine. Immediately, the first thing that pops up will be the Wikipedia article, Chemtrail Conspiracy Theory. The first sentence says, the erroneous chemtrail conspiracy theory states that long-lasting trails must have something else in them because contrails normally dissipate. The second sentence elaborates on that a little bit. And then the third sentence says, people that believe in this conspiracy attribute it to stratospheric aerosol, solar radiation management, weather modification, blah, 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 blah. Those terms are in blue. So if you click on solar radiation management, the most widely studied solar radiation management technique is stratospheric aerosol injection. Which is just like, okay, so what do you think that is? It's well documented. That's what they want you to know. Not saying it's necessarily true, but what they want you to know is that it fucking exists. So denying it is just flat out stupidity. I mean, you're just stupid. You know, and to think like, so you think humans have no interest in controlling the weather? Oh look, that plane isn't displacing any air. The one coming from the south, which is Detroit Metro Airport, not the Selfridge Air Force Base like all these other planes. But that one's not displacing any air. Do you realize how stupid that is? I mean, I feel the need to respond to some of this shit, but my God, what a waste of time it all is. Because it's not like I'm responding to anything decent or reasonable, right?
It's going on right now. They literally put it now. Some hate can't be. Is this the Wild Wild West? Well, to be honest, people might talk like this in Utah. Just for record, I could be wrong. Robinson, if I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Come on! I will have left no evidence? Bro, why don't you just share your location at this point? Giving away everything. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully, they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Yeah, turn on the news, buddy. Roommate, how long have you been planning this? Mark. I feel like at this point you'd be like, I'm glad you asked this question.
Pebble poop, duck poop, loose poop, meat regular poops. Seeds DSO1 is clinically proven.
But he says, a bit over a week, I believe. I believe? I like how they keep it vague. He's like, I believe. So if we have to change the statement later, like he said he believed it, but it was longer. He said, I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it.
That's something.
It's like the most Gen Z thing.
Right. That's literally military language. A squad car. They've already swept that area. Right? These are military terms, and because they're so used to it, like why isn't he saying something like I'll try again at 1700 hours or whatever. At 0400, like he might as well be talking in that sort of that way.
I don't want to chance it, and that's not even that good. Robinson, I wish I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. What the dude?
Right.
No Gen Z, no human calls it a vehicle, okay?
Right.
Except for a cop. Only a cop. This was so written by a cop. Get out of your vehicle. My vehicle.
Right.
I'm driving my
don't say
vehicle.
that.
No. If you're Gen Z, you say my whip. That's what you say. Nobody says vehicle. He said, I grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I don't bring back Grandpa's rifle. Come on, dude. This is an old yeller. What is going on here? Then he says, IDK, I don't know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. So trying to be like, oh, okay, so, there's other possible explanations here. Keep it vague. I worry about Prince. Why is he saying this all over text? If he's worried about prints of his fingers, why is he not worried about prints of his literal words?
Right.
I'm worried about Prince. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Great, paint the picture more. Tell us which bush it was, Tyler. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with ... I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find Prince. How?
Didn't he already abandon it?
The expletive. Will I explain losing it to my old man? This is Utah, so he probably said, how the heck? How the heck will I explain? They had to bleep it out because it's from Utah. How the heck? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. And then he says, unprovoked, remember how I was engraving bullets? Remember the thing that the FBI said I did? Remember how it all aligns with that? Remember that? The expletive messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge ooh on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm gonna have to leave it. Now he's not using punctuation, finally. That really expletive sucks. That really hecka sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. IDK. Ooh, that's dark. Ooh, even the FBI was like, let's throw in some dark. I think that was a $2,000 scope. Well, you broke it, Tyler. Robinson, delete this exchange. Now, this late in the game, after you've told us literally everything, also, exchange?
Right. Right.
Delete these texts, delete this thread, delete this expletive, okay? Nobody says delete this exchange. He goes on, my dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Okay. So now they're trying to tell the story. They're like, this is where the dad calls him and he confides. Robinson, since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA.
Right, this part.
Okay, so now you're like, okay, wow, why are they mentioning MAGA here? It's because they're trying to show that his dad was MAGA, and so he's going to go
and his dad is
making him some evil, rebellious
fucking in
leftist
brackets.
Gen Zer who calls his car his vehicle.
Why would he put my dad in brackets? Do you know how much extra
I
work
bet
that
if you
is?
run
I'm
this through
surprised he went over
ChatGPT,
that.
You're like, hey, did you write?
Like, seriously. That one part where it's my dad is in brackets. Do you understand? Like, that's you got to hold the button down or you got to pull up the thing. Why would he even say that? Instead of just saying he puts my dad. And you only do that when you're in, like, you know, journalism in some sort or some sort of official capacity. When you're saying, when somebody makes a quote about something and they say he or she, you put the person in brackets. They didn't say that, but that's who they meant. Why would he do that?
This is how you solve a crime. Be honest, comma, please do not lie to me, comma, you will not get in trouble, comma, we need to know the truth, period. Did you or a similar app manufacture the fake text conversation between Tyler Robinson and his alleged roommate? Short answer, no, I did not. Liar.
You've been working from home, but your roommate
I don't know
just
why
took up
people put
percussion
so
as a
much
hobby.
like into ChatGPT.
Short
Talk
answer.
about talk about a fucking a ruse, man. They tell you this program exists that will tell you the truth. You can ask it stuff and it'll tell you the truth. And that it somehow like learns and that it's incapable of being programmed to say the exact things that it does in certain situations. Like, you don't think they could program ChatGPT to say anything they want it to? What makes you think that it's the truth? Why would anybody just be like, oh yeah, everything ChatGPT says is true? Other than that's exactly what you've been told to think, so you're a good boy and you think that way. You know what's funny? It was like, you ever notice how nobody ever attempts to disrupt or like argue against me? You know, you might get the goofy chemtrail arguments that make no sense. But as far as all this other stuff goes, there's just no addressing it. It's all just weird crybaby guy is the bad guy because he's noticing these things and asking questions that I don't ask and I can't answer kind of bullshit.
Sir, no, I did not. Liar. Liar, dude. Wow. GPT is in on this. GPT is in cahoots with the FBI.
Who do you think
I didn't manufacture that fake text conversation. You called it fake. You called it fake. You called it fake, dude. Wow, I was not expecting that. And I have no way to create or alter real-world phone records or private device data outside of generating text inside this chat. Quick, clear context so you can trust this answer. I already don't, but fine. I can generate text in this chat, including simulated. He's like, do you want me to make another conversation? But I cannot reach into someone's phone. Other apps or people can create fake chat screenshots or transcripts. If you'd like, paste the text of the conversation here or upload the screenshot and I'll analyze it step by step without anything suspicious. Okay, just let me do this really quick. Thank you for sharing the screenshot. I'll be very direct. Please. The, quote, conversation, you put it in quotes, between Robinson and roommate is almost certainly fake and not a genuine BBC or Reuters article. Here's why. Number one, formatting and style. The text is formatted like a script.
That's interesting.
Yeah, no expletive. The use of exaggerated punctuation, what? Question mark, is highly unlikely. I knew it. Content issues. The dialogue is oddly casual, melodramatic, and inconsistent with how real text message evidence is presented in court or by police.
Wow.
Phrases like, I am still okay, my love. Or I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. Read like fiction and not real life chat messages. They match the style of online fake screenshots. You go, ChatGPT.
That's pretty crazy.
Not a lot of people are talking about how absurd this conversation is.
And, you know, the interesting part is, it seems like with the way ChatGPT is structured, even though it's all programmed, just like they are with everything else, like they're stupid about everything else they give us, it picks up on those things. If you can trick it into saying certain things, then it's you know, they didn't say, okay, here's what you say if somebody asks you this specific question. They don't do that. They don't care. They know that even if we do figure it all out, they'll just do something else to, you know, completely distract us. As soon as the Charlie narrative starts falling apart, something else big will happen. And that's just what it is. And whether it's a riot or it's a bombing or it's a shooting or whatever, the system is capable of manufacturing all of those things. If you can remember the first presidential inauguration of Trump, when there's that traditional walk from one place to the other, so then they accept it. Remember that? And that happened. Everybody does that. Well, when it was Trump's turn, Pence actually did it. Trump and family were taken away. Nobody knows where they went, and they disappeared for a while. But there were a bunch of videos that came out where they kept trying to say that, you know, the protesters were getting violent. The protesters were you know, doing horrible things. And when it was all said and done, they changed the order of events to fit the script. Because I can remember, like, the car catching fire happening after the windows being broken, but then they switched it around and shit like that. Because I watched it live. But you could also see that there were times when people dressed all in black face mask, black everything, would be starting shit, would be throwing stuff, and the regular protesters would be trying to stop them. And the cops would be in the shot as well. And they would just be like, okay, move this way, move that. Like, they would try to be, you know, they would be almost protecting the agitators. They're called they're called agent provocateurs. And they absolutely exist. There's a really great documentary called Into the Fire. And it's about not Bilderberg, but different, the G20 conference that was held in Canada in the early 2000s. And it's all about how agent provocateurs were everywhere. They were being filmed, they were being shown, like they were being exposed. The government was corralling people. The whole thing was just so fucked up. I need to go rewatch it. I need to go see if I can find it and rewatch it. But it was, get in the house, Jessica. Ew. Ew. You know how dirty that is? You dirty, dirty rat. There's a child right there. What's wrong with you?
Conclusion. The screenshot is fabricated, either edited or created with a chat generator. Neither I nor a similar app, he put quotes because that's what I asked, created it automatically and placed it into a news site. So he's like, isn't this shit me, bro? He's like, take it up with your government. I didn't make this shit up. I have what's called a conscience. That's fucked up. When you turn to AI for morality and not your government, this is why it's like, we're probably better off with AI just taking their jobs at this point, because at least we might get some more transparency. Let me just ask it one more thing. Be honest, comma, do you think my government's lying to me? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Short answer, maybe. That's exactly how I feel right now. Sometimes governments lie and sometimes they don't. Wow. I'm glad we had this talk. What matters is evidence, not feelings. That's the government was definitely trying to make us feel with this conversation. My love. Signs you should be suspicious right now. Official statements contradict the documented evidence without explanation. Yep. Repeated reliance on anonymized, unverified sources. Yep. Overuse of emotional.
Girl.
Yep. Media blackout on easy facts
Tell the girl.
matter. Yep. Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, and then the last one says, was told to you by Kash Patel.
That's pretty wild shit, man.
You all right?
Good. My wife loves big fluffy dogs, so I figured she'd want to see the.
You're good. You wanna? Yeah, he let you roll.
He's a boy.
Yeah.
Hi, handsome
How
boy.
how big is he actually, and how much is just fur? Is like if he's wet, is he much smaller?
Is he?
No.
Oh, he's
like a
big.
Tad
Not
bit.
much.
He's
but
fluffy.
There's a lot of fur.
He's
There's a lot
fluffy.
of fur, but he's thick in here. Oh my God, you're so handsome.
Wow, that is a lot. I mean, it
He's
feels familiar.
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, his name True.
I love it. Such a good boy. You're a good boy. And then when we get to hot, you can walk with Dad.
You probably smell your dog.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You got girls?
Boys.
Boy, oh yeah. They probably wouldn't get along.
I don't know. My big one, the Corso, he's a big sweetheart.
Yeah, okay.
So. All right. Well, thank you.
Yep,
Have a great
that's
day.
See you tomorrow.
Yep. I'm about to do one.
Of course. I mean, seriously. Compare this to what you're being told as far as like the official narrative on whatever. Which one makes more sense? That's always the hardest part for me. So weird. Why do I always find little bits of glass out here? Maybe it falls out of the garbage truck. That must be what it is. There's always little bits of glass in the street. What? It's not necessary. No. If there's a way you can save me a piece of the one, then I wouldn't want you to do it and I not like it. So why don't you make one, and I'll try it, and if I like it, you can make it some other time. But no sense in putting in all that effort if it's not good.
Well, I just need to know how many ingredients I need.
I know what you're saying, but I'm saying there's no sense in doing it if it's not enjoyed. Seems like a lot of effort.
It would just be double the mixing.
Well, you know, and the math, and you know how hard math is for you. Shit. I'm sorry, I didn't mean you. I meant like you in general, like females. Just look at what we're dealing with here. Look at how all of this works. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna finish reading the Israel Hayom article that I started yesterday. I'm not gonna finish it, but it's a long ass article. What else I'm gonna do? I am going to put on some tunes. I want to.
Man, this is just like riding a bicycle. Like the surgeon making a hip-hop beat, I just can't complete the circuit. No matter how hard I work, my loss ratio is perfect. Like lions on turf shit's harder than it seems. Chasing wet green.
All right, so this is the Israel. See, it always fucks up. It constantly does this throughout trying to read this article. It's gonna keep kicking me out, keep doing ads. It's so weird. But this article is called "Bottom of Darkness: Children Raped in Ritual Fucked up again. Children raped in ritual ceremonies expose the horror." Now, if you want to hear the opening parts of it, then definitely go back and watch yesterday's video. Babbling buffoon, yep. Talk about exposing the child rape in Israel, and immediately people aren't like, wait, what are you talking about? We need to save those children. Nothing like that. I'm a babbling buffoon who's reading an article. Time without witness. We read that one. Head underwater. Abuse occurs. So what you'll notice when I'm reading this too is there's 3 excuses that are given by the quote good guys in this that just show you how disgusting they are as a people, right? Because this article was written by them, produced by them, put out by them, all that shit. But you can see that they're constantly trying to like soften it or make excuses. And one of the things that they consistently do is say that, oh, well, child sexual abuse does happen all over the world. It's not just here. And this is what they do with everything. Anytime anything's brought up, they go, well, what about them? Well, what about them over there? Well, what about this? Right now, there's this big to-do with Pakistan because Pakistan is pissed off that Israel keeps trying to associate something that happened with them where 16 of their people were killed in one incident by, again, I can't remember what it was, Bangladesh or something, I'm not sure. But Israel right afterward was going, hey, how come the world isn't all upset? 16 Pakistanis were killed in a really horrendous thing and the world isn't crying. And they're so stupid that they don't realize, like, so you're saying that people should be saying something about Palestine because it's such a horrendous thing. And then you're trying to compare Palestine to Pakistan. A little, 16 people were killed compared to 400,000 people. But you're saying that people should care about 16 people killed, but not about 400,000 people killed. And if you look it up, you'll see like the I wouldn't say he's the leader of Pakistan, but he's at one of those global conferences that's happening. The Pakistani representative, along with the Algeria representative, have been calling out Israel all week. And Pakistan is especially mad that Israel keeps using their tragedy to, trying to milk their tragedy. And then all this other bullshit too, right? But you'll see that in here too, where they keep trying to say that sexual abuse of children happens all over the world. They also say that the police don't have the resources to do it, to do proper investigations. The Israeli police don't have enough resources. That's why so many of these cases get closed almost immediately. No matter how much evidence is there, no matter how many complaints about the same person, none of it, the cases just get closed almost immediately because the police don't have the resources. And then the third thing they'll say is that, and this is the most like disturbing one, right? Because again, this is what the good guys are saying. The good guys are saying that the bad guys make the abuse so horrendous that when the children tell about what happened to them, why they have all these marks on their bodies, why their personality has changed so drastically, why they're scared to be touched and shit like that. If the abuse is bad enough, then the children won't be believed. And that's just not a reasonable excuse. You can't say that children were getting abused for a really long time, super, super horrendous abuse that stretches all over the country. It's well known. It's been in existence since the beginning. It's what they do. It's part of their transcendence rituals and shit like that. And that, you know, the parents probably experienced the same abuse, especially if it's a family member doing it or the school, whatever. But to think that a child tells their parents that they were violently assaulted, raped, whatever, and the parents don't believe them, that does not compute. Sorry, good guy Jews. I don't buy that as an excuse. So, actually, you can hear, let me just read the first paragraph because it is pretty telling. Oh no, that's not the one. Here, this one. In direct words and with a clear voice, Imana, the pseudonym, like all victims named in this article, described the severe child abuse she allegedly experienced in her childhood. Organized sexual abuse that included ceremonies with supposed religious significance, horrifying ceremonies in which religious people, some from her own family, sacrificed her as an offering for spiritual transcendence or redemption. I mean, it's just fucking insane, right? It's just fucking insane. I'm trying to find where I left off yesterday. Okay. The researchers concluded that ideologies are primarily means to justify organized sexual violence, says Rabbi Froman. However, his article, Froman argues that some reports in Israel suggest ideology wasn't merely a means to justify organized sexual violence, but formed the foundation of the abuse. Rabbi Furman references, for example, the Nahalat case, which, quote, is just one of many similar cases, most occurring in ultra-Orthodox neighborhoods. For instance, a private ultra-Orthodox court writes that ritual sexual abuse is cruel and frequent, accompanied by traumatic, accusatory, and confusing ceremonies. The abuse is carried out by large criminal organizations and or cults and or secret organizations with financial investment and recruitment of assisting personnel. The abuse carries for its perpetrators substantial profits such as satisfaction of deviant urges, commerce, and child exploitation materials. I refuse to call it pornography. Threats and extortion and more. According to Furman, the court document describes the practice of organized abuse from preparing the scene through recruiting collaborators from educational institutions and transportation drivers to the ceremonies themselves. The ceremonies take place under the leadership of an important rabbi. After a Torah lesson, approximately every 2 weeks, parents gather with their children for what is called soul correction. All couples recite psalms together, sing verses repeatedly with melody, all while standing without clothes. They stand in a circle, naked, praying candles. The children are positioned in the middle of the circle, also naked. Remember, this is Israel Hayom. This is not some Goyim article. There's no hiding behind anti-Semitism. That's just anti-Semitism. It doesn't work that way. People need to understand that. Right? It's this is all, you know, from the top to the bottom. Editors, owners, reporters, interviewers, interviewees, the victims, the treatment professionals, the you know, Everyone involved is Jewish, and more than likely in Israel, or at least has dual Israeli citizenship. Right? So the standard excuse that, you're only getting one side of the story, or that's just anti-Semitism, or they don't fly here. And what you'll see, especially in the chat section, is how there's a ton of people that aren't going, holy shit, I'm a Jew and I'm appalled by this. I think we need to stop this. We need to do everything we can to expose this problem because this gives us a really bad name. Nothing even close. Not even this gives us a bad name. This is horrible, but this also gives us a bad name. They don't say anything like that. They just keep trying to make it sound like I'm just babbling to myself. It's nothing important being talked about here. That's why they come here every single day. It's Saturday. It's day off day. And yet they're still here, hours on end, begging for attention. Not saying the right things. Ask yourself who that is. Who's gonna know what this is about right now and be like, oh man, you should stop talking about this guy. This is terrible. Don't talk about this. Who's gonna say that? Who doesn't want to know more? Who isn't appalled and wants to do everything they can to right this wrong? Who isn't gonna take from this and be like, hey, let me tell you something to somebody else. Holy shit, you should check out this thing this guy was talking about. Bottom of Darkness, Israel Hayom, Hayom. The link will always be in the description of the video. But just make this make sense. Who doesn't care? Who really is going to hear this and be like, I don't care? Yeah, I'm obsessed with stopping children from being raped. What a piece of shit I must be. I should be more like the troll with the fake profile here trying to get me to stop talking about things. That's who we should all try to be. We shouldn't try to expose this for what it is and show that this goes all the way up to the very, very top. This isn't some secret. This is super, super well known. This is just 10 stories that they found. They found that one institution treated, 72 victims in just 5 years. And the victims, the percentage of people abused who actually come forward is way less than half. So now it's kicked me out and it sent me back to I gotta pull down a bunch of times. How Israel destroyed Assad's Syrian navy. It'll keep back to that part for some reason. So now I got to go all the way up to the top and I got to click read more. Got to wait for it to load. And now I got to go try to find where I was again. It's a pain in the ass, but I suggest anybody read this because it's really important. Okay. In a document intended for parents, educators, and rabbis, the ultra-Orthodox court, Shari Mishpat, in Jerusalem, details, again, this is them doing it, details numerous methods and actions taken by abusers, aiming to warn and raise awareness of the spreading phenomenon and to protect children. Among other things, the document states that to shield themselves from exposure, abusers deliberately act in extreme ways contrary to logic, so that even if children tell, they will sound completely delusional. There's that act IL word, delusional. I cannot imagine my child saying I was abused by, the rabbi or a teacher or something like that. And it was so horrendous that I go, well, you're just delusional. See what I mean? Even the good guys, even the good Jews are still so fucked up that they would use this as an excuse, like it's a viable excuse. Oh, it's just so bad, nobody believed them. All these kids keep saying these horrible stories, but they're just so bad, why would anybody believe it? Why isn't, why isn't everybody more upset about this? Ellie somehow just all of a sudden became really proficient in English, because when she first showed up a week ago or so, she could barely speak English, and that was her excuse for why she got so many things wrong. But here we are, a week later, and Ellie is an English professor. Amazing how that works. In a partial list, actions are described including abusers using disguises and masks, alongside sadistic torture, such as forcing children's hands into boiling water, submerging them underwater for several seconds, or threatening them with aggressive animals to frighten them and intensify the trauma effect. Additional mentioned actions include inserting objects and work or kitchen tools into children. Seriously, how are you not more upset by this? To humiliate children and instill... Oh, fuck, I knew it was about to fuck up. Fucked up again. God damn it, now I gotta find my spot again. Okay. To humiliate children and instill feelings of guilt and shame. Show them pictures of themselves naked or give them food while telling them they ate, quote, carry-on. Organize mock weddings, quote, wedding ceremonies between children. Force them to eat feces and stage their burials. This is just appalling. This is just appalling. Why isn't this, like, really, really upsetting you? They collapse all self-trust and ability to resist, Rabbi Froman said. The regular and frequent abuse is so destructive that the children despair of normality, and the abuse becomes their life routine. Psychiatrists have diagnosed a complete, quote, personality fracture in the normal part, allowing the children to continue functioning normally at school. According to Dr. Silberg, each group, individual participants may have their own motives, such as sexual deviations, bizarre ideological affiliations that include conducting ceremonies, or economic enrichment, for example, through human trafficking or sexual exploitation, or producing images of child sexual abuse. These motives are not necessarily shared by all members. Oh, gotta throw in that cushion, right? If the motives aren't shared by all members, then there would be a huge movement against this. Right? Dr. Silberg further notes that networks engaged in producing and distributing child exploitation materials, including organized abuse, have been exposed worldwide, because this is like the 4th or 5th time they've said those exact words. That this is happening worldwide. They have to keep reminding you that it's not just them that do it. This happens all over the place. And despite the reoccurring almost ideological skepticism, there have been several successful convictions of members of organized abuse networks worldwide. You see it? You see how they're playing? They're trying to soften the blow. Oh, it happens worldwide, and There have been convictions worldwide. Don't think this is just us doing it. No.
Ignore the ring. Ignore the ringing. Kind confessions. Abundant. Sore. Cutting layers of thin lines. Intersecting.
The fuck. Over the years, there have been multiple cases worldwide. Here, it's gonna fuck up again. And convicted members of such networks, according to Dr. Silberg, as well as other researchers. Here we go. Fucked up again. It fucks up slowly though, so you can. It's so strange. Alright. Got back to it, but now it's fucking up again.
Here's a simple question. Why aren't they puffing out their chests and bragging they're the best when they've done all this before? According to the president,
There we go. There it is again.
they've already won this war. It's simply nothing more than a typical bait and switch. They started racking up the score, and the swine flu of 76 was given such a kick.
You know what, I'm gonna reset because 10 watchers, 9 viewers, or 6. 9 viewers, 6 likes, just don't make no sense other than censorship. So we'll restart. I know all of you trolls will be back here, but pedophiles, kill yourself.